wanna know? Oh, no, oh, 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 oh. Step into the ring, it's the champion's corner time. Oh, oh, WWE and AEW break it down. We shine from the top rope to the mat. All the action, all the heat. Champions Corner podcast where the real fans meet. Champions Corner podcast where the real fans meet.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Champions Corner podcast. My name is Lonnie B. Nesbitt Jr., but I know you know that already. And I'm here with my brother Sean Player, ready to bring you some great talk discussions today of this past weekend of wrestling. Hey, we had a great weekend of wrestling. Of course, we had Friday Night SmackDown. As a matter of fact, it's the last Friday Night SmackDown on Fox. Next week, it's going to be going to USA for the season premiere. And so all the next week, WWE is going to be on USA. We look forward to talking about that much later. Yesterday was AEW All Out. And the question was always like, hey, they just had a huge show 2 weeks ago. Can they pull it out 2 weeks later? I think we're going to talk about that and be in agreement with them as well as we have some, in the world of professional wrestling, we see wrestlers, superstars, however you want to say that, they tend to go out and do interviews, and there's some phenomenal platforms out there today. So we want to talk about the impulsive interview with Hulk Hogan, as well as the power players with Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns in New York. So we got a great show for you. Are you ready, Sean? Talk to the people, man. What you want to say to them right now?
I'm ready. Let's rock and roll, man. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, sir. Well, we're going to start it off with AEW All Out. Again, this is the second year that we've seen a large, phenomenal crowd for AEW, because we're not used to seeing that, but they're selling out stadiums, right? And then 2 weeks later, they go from All In, which is one of their biggest, if not their biggest show of the year, and then you go into All Out 2 weeks later in their homeland of Chicago, which is that show is usually attended in Chicago, right? So the questions always remain, man, hey, can they deliver in just such a 2 week buildup, right? Since a 2 week buildup. But I personally think, just based on what I saw, there was some good deliveries there. What you think, Blair?
I think they delivered well, man. I actually, saw, man, and felt like this had a big show feel, man. So, just looking at the product that they had, the way it was produced, it looked like it was packed in there. So it looked like they put some butts in seats, man. So I think they put on a good card, a good show. I mean, they had the pre-show, then of course they had the main card. So yeah, man, they had some pretty good spots and pretty good highlights in that pay-per-view.
Yeah. One of the things we get started here, one of the things that was kind of ongoing in the midst of things based on whether you want to call it sucker punches or anything along those lines, man. Daniel Garcia and MJF, who kicked it off the main show, you alluded to the 4 pre-show matches, but we're talking about the main show for a moment here. And with MJF and Daniel Garcia, they kicked it off. And I want to talk about the fact that AEW as a whole, and we'll get back to the match particular, they're really pushing the envelope of professional wrestling as far as the moves go. You don't often see a lot of power drivers and tombstones, especially off the second rope. You don't see them brain busters. So in that match, I mean, it was very personal. I mean, people getting spit on, slapped, trying to get tricked again. Like, that's taken to the street, man. You know what I'm saying? You go spit on me, slap me, try to low blow me, and biting me. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that robbery's gotten personal. MJF, of course, supported it off. But Daniel Garcia kind of got the last laugh at the end of the night because MJF tried to put a classic, hey, man, we're friends. And nope, I got you, type of thing. So what do you think about that particular robbery? Because the rumors are saying that MJF may be taking some time off, but that's yet to be seen. So what do you think?
Listen, first of all, hats off to Garcia and MJF. MJF, man, they had a stellar match. I think, man, just me, I think that probably been like the highlight of the night. Their match was very physical. They had a lot of spots. I mean, we don't see like you alluded to, man. We don't see like the power drivers where they don't cup the legs. We don't see that anymore, man. Where they go straight, your head goes straight down into the canvas, man. I mean, they really pushed the envelope there. And you talk about cannibal activity, man. You got MJF biting people's head to make them bleed, man. I'm like, yo, whatever happened to just cracking them over the head with a chair or something, man? You bit this man. You spit on this man. I mean, what more could you have done to this guy? I didn't think Garcia was gonna win. I thought it was gonna be MJF. I'm actually starting to like him as a character, as a heel. I'm always rooting for the guys. I'm rooting for the heels, man. And I thought he was gonna pull that out, man. But looks like Garcia had his number, man. But I think and I mean, every referee might as well get ready in AEW to wear them black gloves all night, man, because they be bleeding. They be bleeding all night, man. But I think it was a good match. Me personally, I'll put that there as a candidate for like the match of the night.
Yeah, I would say that MJF did get the win, and I do say, MJF's probably at a place now, personally, me. Maybe he's starting to give back a little bit to the younger guys,
Mm-hmm.
because he is the top, in my opinion, he is the top heel in the company. Arguably the biggest star in the company. I have my preference, but arguably a little bit. But, I think he's in the point where he wants to give back. But since he's been back, though, I feel like he's been on another level. Stellar matches.
Yeah.
His matches with Will Ospreay, the whole thing with the American Championships and the International Championship, that whole thing in London, I think they really did that thing really well. So hats off to him on that. But you said something. I was going to wait, but I'm going to kind of go out of order a little bit, man, the match order. Because you said something that really triggered to me. You said chair shots. You said by talking about chair shots and how that was the place to bust somebody open as opposed to just going ham on and put some mayonnaise and mustard on their forehead. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of just biting them up. But man, let's talk about that. I'm gonna skip all the way to the main event for that reason alone, because I feel it's a good transition. Hangman Adam Page against Swerve Strickland. Now, first of all, let's talk a little bit about not just the build of that history, but let's talk about the last week of their rivalry. Swerve goes online, buys his house, when he was living there when he was younger, right? Hangman Adam Page just goes and torches it.
Mm-hmm.
And then sits down in front of it like, yeah, I did it. Call the cops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I did it and what, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, now, fast forward to the match. Swerve comes out. He has the picture of the house on fire on his clothes. Okay? Right? Now, in the cuts of the match, let's talk about the things we saw in there. Lights out, steel cage match. So, somebody gets dropped on the cylinder block.
Yeah.
Somebody gets a syringe put in their mouth.
Staple guns.
And then Swerve just looks at him like, this can't phase me.
Man,
and he staples the pictures on them. Sean, what do you think? Now, is that we're gonna work backwards on this one, okay? We're gonna work backwards on this. What more can you do with them?
Man,
after that?
First of all, ain't nobody about to staple gun me with no pictures on my face. About to staple gun, and I'm about to sit there and they about to staple gun my chest, and man, what? And I'm just gonna smile and look at them. And they had some crazy stuff going on in that match. I think it was a power bomb onto the cinder block.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had the staple gun to the face. You had the barbed wire on the cage. I mean, you had everything but the kitchen sink, so to speak, in that match, man. And but the psychology was cool because they kept that story going. Here it is. Hangman burned down this man's house, and he brings some debris to the ring from the house, man. Talk about disrespectful. Hey, man, that was disrespectful to you bringing debris for this man's house, his childhood house, in the ring, and you expect this man not to go crazy. But on top of all that, Hangman pulls the man's grill out of his mouth and put a syringe through his lip. I'm like, what's gonna happen after that? Y'all gonna have a buried alive death match or something?
That is a good point. But and the thing about it, as wrestling fans, we understand not all booking because we're not the ones in the room, but we understand some booking. So, what you alluded to, chair shots, and how Hangman had a page after that syringe. I mean, he just whacked him with the chair and laid him out to the point. How do you referee stop a match in a cage? I don't think I ever seen that.
Never seen that. No.
I don't think I ever seen that.
They didn't even do that with they did it with Mankind when he got thrown through the cell. I think they were trying to stop it then.
And he came back, rope tripping off, man. And that's a whole other conversation. Well,
shout out to our guy. That's his guy. Shout out to Crump. That's his guy, Mick Foley.
Hey, greatest Hell in a Cell match is coming soon. Look forward to that,
Oh
people.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But you say a good point. I find it. I thought about it. I said, because there was talks about with that being the main event, right? Probably the most anticipated match of the night. Seeing him, Heyman Adam Page costing the title against Bryan Danielson. I keep wanting to say Bryan Danielson.
Right.
And now that just added another fuel to the fire. So this probably was the most anticipated match of the evening in that regard because it was built over time. So what do you do next with that? That would be very interesting to see. Like, I don't know. I know AEW probably has not pulled out all of their big time matches, I guess, like that can end a rivalry type of thing.
Right.
But after that, man, I don't know, man. Great match though, brutal, very brutal, as we expected it to be. I mean, you call it a lights out steel cage match. I mean,
Man, that was a death steel cage match, man. But Swerve held up 2 fingers before it was all over. So I guess Swerve was up on him 2 times, right? He won. So are they tied?
I'm not sure that particular one. Dad has to research it, but I will say Swerve is up though, and I also think that tells me it's not over.
Yeah, clearly.
But then again, it's like, what can you do next? We're not gonna get too much into that, ladies and gentlemen, because we don't know yet. We like you, we're waiting to see. But it gets you thinking. Like after a beatdown like that, I mean, come on, a man comes in there, his house gets burned, and he loses. Can't be over.
I mean, Heyman stood outside that man's house, did everything but had the barbecue. He did everything but had the barbecue out there, man. Heyman disrespectful, man. He disrespectful.
Hey, look, in so many levels, man. So many levels, man. But we're gonna move on here because it's gonna be another 2-parter here. So we know Blackpool Combat Club was not successful in capturing the titles from the Young Bucks.
Right.
However, fair match. But I want to talk about something else with the Blackpool Combat Club because Jon Moxley has been coming back since he's been back in the last couple of weeks and has been sending in these subliminal messages.
Right.
He told Tony Schiavone, this is not your company anymore. Who is he really talking to, though? Is it Tony Schiavone's company? I don't think so. But, maybe he knows something we don't know. Right? So we go down to Bryan Danielson defeating Jack Perry. Fair match. I think it was enough to get, I don't think they will continue it. Obviously, if you saw the show, you see what happened. But I don't think they'll continue. I think Jack Perry's going to go his own way, But I want to talk about what happened after the match. Because we're talking about the thing, they say all out. Well, they really went all out.
Yeah.
Okay? So, Christian Cage and his peeps try to come out and try to cash in, which I'm assuming to be some type of Money in the Bank type of.
That's why I was going to ask you. So that's like a Money in the Bank type contract.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm thinking something along those lines. So but Jon Moxley comes out, they stop that, right?
Right.
And historically, you probably should know, like, okay, something might have happened. Like, why are you even out there right now, right?
Right.
So, Bryan Danielson gets the win. After getting knee to the face, like, knocks him out, right? Boom. And then, Claudio, that stellar uppercut that he does so well.
Yep. Woo.
Knocks Bryan Danielson down.
Clean out.
Now, before that, they're all celebrating. Now, here's the part right here, though. Claudio does that. Moxley puts a bag over his face, like suffocating him. Will's in the corner, almost like in tears.
Yeah.
So my question is,
didn't they restrain him?
Yeah, they had to because, Pac was trying to restrain him. Because he was like, man, what's going on here? Like I wasn't part of this conversation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you and I mean, it's nothing new. We've seen it all the time in professional wrestling, but it's nothing new. It's like, so what do you do now? So you got that emotional attachment there, right? And Bryan Danielson, you already know he can pull the emotion out of you.
Yep.
That's already known. So he can sell it like this is who trained him, but Shawn Michaels, that emotional connection, when you fire up, you're behind him. When he's hurt, you're behind him. You know what I'm saying? You feel it. So Will and not Claudio. So what do you think is the reason, beyond the title, what do you think is the reason? Because remember, Bryan Danielson was on the verge of retiring.
Mm-hmm.
But he's won the title, and now he's saying the next time when he loses it, then he will retire. or we take a
Right.
leave of absence. However that look in wrestling, you can't really tell what that. If somebody say retired, then 10 years later they're back for a special match. So
Right.
never say never.
Yeah, man. Honestly, your guess is good as mine as why they would turn on this man and attack him like that, and not just attack him, but they was trying to take this man's life. Look like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, John Moxley. I think it's building up to a match probably between Daniel Bryanson and John Moxley. That's the only way. That's the only thing I can see. Now, what those reasons are, I maybe we'll find out on Dynamite or the other shows. Maybe we'll find out what the reason is, but maybe it's because number one, maybe John Moxley wanted Bryan Danielson out the picture. Maybe he was banking on him getting the belt and retiring and having like a swan song going home.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that's the deal. Maybe that's the deal. Maybe John Moxley is just tired of him getting these people getting the shine or however it is. And whoever he's talking to, that since he told the guy that he told him this ain't your company no more, so maybe it's coming from a higher power.
That's a throwback word right there.
Yeah.
That's a throwback word. Ain't heard that in about 15.
I know, right?
But that is a good indication of what could be the reasoning behind it. We could say the title, that's a given, I think. John Moxley's like if I'm not mistaken, he's like a 3-time AEW World Champion.
Yeah.
He calls himself the heart and soul of AEW. And if you pay attention to his rivalry with CM Punk, a year or so ago. So that's a good point. But he kicked him out the group. Like, what is it? Why so personal?
Man, I mean, they did more than kick him out of the group. They did more than that. But now the group looks kind of fractured because obviously all the other group members ain't know about this.
Mm-hmm.
So you got that element too, because it looked like nobody else knew about it but a few people.
Yeah. So that is a dissension there, and on top of that, for the most part, the whole team lost all night except for Bryan Danielson. I mean, Will Ospreay, who's probably wrestler of the year, he beat Pac. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
so then you got them losing the tag titles. As a matter of fact, that was back to back. If you follow the show, it was back to back losses. Like that match and then that match, but more to come on that, I think. More to come. The question is, because I think the next show, I'm not sure what the next show is. Hold on, I can tell you. Actually, the next show for AEW is going to be Wrestle Dream. Okay. And that's going to be I think that's in Tacoma, Washington. So that's close to Daniel Bryan's hometown. So I guess him and John Moxley going to tear out the frame. Yep. But nonetheless, you have any final thoughts on that? I know it's kind of hard to talk about that piece without knowing where we're going. Because there really was it was just a heel classic move. Let's beat him down, let's suffocate him, then let's walk through the crowd and let them boo us. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Man.
So it's like, where do you go from there?
It's got Daniel. If I know Bryan Danielson as I know him, respectfully on this show we call him the B+ player, but that's another subject.
We
you don't? I thought it was just me. Wow, I didn't know either, man. Digital audience, that's new to me. I thought it was the whole show, but I guess not. But anyway, I see him getting some type of retribution. Well, I don't know. Because he had a bag over his mouth and over his face, and they had to carry him out. So it might take a while before he get his retribution, but he's gonna want some answers. The fans want answers. The team, they look like they want some answers too. So John Moxley, he owes us some answers. He owes some answers.
Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention to Dynamite this week, and we should get those answers because it's going to a different place now. And you say all out, you win all out.
Yep.
So as we continue to move on, we I want to talk about the street fight between Kris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. And Kris Statlander won by submission.
Mm-hmm.
And she did a split. She missed this, and she hit the split on thumbtacks, man. That's a whole nother thing there. But I have a little bit of a personal interest here. In Willow Nightingale, because I feel now that she has got her rematch, which we mentioned on the show multiple times against Mercedes Moné, maybe they're just keeping them apart.
Gotta be, man. Gotta be for a big.
They gotta have a rubber match. But again, that's just another, and maybe kind of like Cody after he lost to Roman Reigns in WrestleMania 39, and they took that
Right.
whole year to build him up to get hot, to have a hot year to get him at WrestleMania 40.
Yep.
Could this be what's going on with Nightingale? Could she be the one to dethrone Mercedes Moné later down the road?
That's a good point. That is a really good point. That possibly very well could be the reason why they haven't had that match again. Maybe she's the one, or maybe she'd be the one to get the retribution and get the title back. But man, they had one heck of a hardcore match. You know, those two girls, was it Skylander?
Statlander.
Yep. Man, they had
Statlander.
yeah, they had a really good match, man. So, but to your point, I would pay big. I would love to see that. You know, because I think, man, because she never. We always say on the show she never got her rematch. So what's behind that?
Yeah. I would love to know the answer to that, but I think sometimes when like the media scrolls and they ask up the questions, you don't really get those answers. It's kind of like hidden, you know. And maybe that's good. It keeps you coming back. But
Right.
hard hitting street fight. I mean, anytime you have Chicago street fight, it's going to be out the woodworks. You know, in the mean streets of Chicago. I mean, we growing up watching, you know, World Warriors or LOD or however you want to say it, had that Chicago street fight. You kind of got an inkling of what that's like. But
they had light bulbs, man. They was hitting people with light bulbs.
Light bulbs, tacks, fists, like, and look, animosity. Animosity, and just the fiery. And that's another one. I don't think that's the one thing I will say about these matches. I hope this is not the case for this one. Sometimes I feel like in AEW, and this is not a knock, this is me as a fan. I feel like sometimes they just end things and you just kind of get on down the road.
Right.
In this particular case, I hope this doesn't end because of Chicago street fight. First of all, Kris betrayed her. So this should, you know, kind of keep going on, especially with Stokely there. You know, this should, you know, keep going for a while, and maybe to the point we made, maybe she'll be the one to rise back up to face Mercedes Moné.
Yeah,
and dethrone her potentially.
It potentially might be a part 2 between them. You know, because that like you said, that Chicago street fight shouldn't be the end between those two. You know. Yep.
You're right, man. You're right. But speaking of Mercedes Moné, Hikaru, if I said that right, she defeated her.
Yep.
Now, the one thing I would critique about that match, Mercedes Moné is a great wrestler, I believe.
Right.
But I feel like she has to have the right dancer partner too. And you can say that arguably about any wrestler, right? But then you got guys like a Will Ospreay who can bring it out of anybody.
Anybody, man.
You know, or Shawn Michaels who can bring out anybody, and Bryan Danielson, things of that nature.
Bryan Danielson. Okay.
Yeah. A+ player, man. So what I'm saying is, what do you think? The match was fair. I'm gonna be honest with you. In my opinion, I think it was just a fair match. That's just me personally. But how do you think Mercedes Moné is doing as a TBS champ?
In the beginning, I was one of those like, man, she done went down the drain, man. But she's coming into her own. I feel like she's coming into her own. She's starting to get her footing in the company. You know, starting to get comfortable. We're starting to see flashes of, you know, who we know her talent to be. I thought that she put on a really good match the other night, and she did it without her enforcer.
Yeah, Camille wasn't banned from ringside. Yeah,
did it without the enforcer, and she still retained the title successfully with no funniness going on. It was a straight finish match. But as to your point, I think she's starting to come into her own. But I think we still haven't seen that big match. You know, we still haven't seen that oh my God, you know, I don't think, man, other than Toni Storm when it comes to the women's division, Toni Storm and was it Mariah?
Mariah.
Outside of those two, man, you know, that we're talking about that star ability, right? Like we know Mercedes Moné is a star, right? We know she's a star. She's a star caliber type talent. But I think she hasn't got over like that amongst the fans, you know, to where you're saying, man, this is the woman in this division, right? You know, kind of like, you know, when we look at the, you know, we look at the WWE when it comes to the women's talent. I mean, you got them all over. You know what I'm saying? You could pick who's who. Right now, I think Mercedes Moné, she need to rise above the pack, and we're still waiting to see that. We're still waiting to see that match. We're still waiting to see, her have that stellar moment where she's rising above the pack. But match the other night was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with you because the biggest match to date with her on paper was with Britt Baker. But the best match she had was with Nightingale, which is her first match there. But my point is, her and Britt Baker was supposed to be because Britt Baker had the AEW Women's Championship for a long time.
Right.
And now this was the big challenge for her. Britt Baker, homegrown in AEW. And now, maybe they can come back to that as well. I don't know. But to your point, I think we're still waiting for that match at the moment. But she can go. We know she can go.
You can go.
It's just having that right partner, I think. And to me, my personal opinion, I think the match, you say it was a good match. I think the match was just fair.
Yeah.
Honestly, you might forget about it next week, unfortunately, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, digital audience. You have yours too, but, I just want to, I'm waiting for her to get that moment. And maybe it's going to take some real story because, she has a little lady, I can't remember her name, who was in WWE, who's now in AEW. I think she personally writes for her.
Really?
Yeah. So she was working it up. She quit. I don't know. I guess she left WWE.
Right. So her promos and stuff?
Yeah, I think it was folks in WWE. She left WWE. Now she's in AEW. I think she personally writes, like a brand writer or something within the ranks of wrestling, I suppose. But she's doing that for Mercedes Moné because they were close in WWE.
Okay.
Okada successfully you're talking about all these titles, man. AEW, man. Come on now. You got to keep up with all these titles, man. He successfully defends the Continental Championship.
Yep. Because
it's Mark Briscoe. Huh? No, Okada. This is the Continental. That's the International. We'll get to that one next, but this is the Continental. All these titles, I tell you, man, you get tongue twisted. International, American, CBS, Continental.
The trio title. I mean,
TNT, trios, tag team, world, But Mark Briscoe, which is a classic name, Orange Cassidy, and Kenosha. Like I said.
Now, is Mark related to the Briscoes?
From my understanding, yes.
Okay.
From my understanding, because I think they had a family member passed away a couple years ago and was really close to him.
Right.
Yeah, so that was a big thing right there. I'm actually looking that up too, as I'm like just to make sure we don't tell. But so again, fair match. But let's get to who I think is. And we're gonna do this show later this year. We're gonna have the best of the year of wrestling. But tell me, what do you think about Will Ospreay before we continue here?
Man, so the match he had with did he have a match with was he fighting Pac?
Yep.
Man. Pac, first of all, Pac looked like an action hero. That dude looked like a straight action hero, first of all. But the Will Ospreay Pac match, to me, man, like I said, that was one of the highlights of the night. Back and forth compatibility, the psychology in the ring. Man, the spot of the night, man, was that that German suplex on the apron.
Man, look at that. Let me just.
I wouldn't have got up. They would have to just we're gonna have to cut the commercial or something.
I'm asking a question here.
I don't know. I mean, because that spot was a reversal to a counter, right? That's how that took place.
Yes. Yeah. The thing about that all the time with me is that I feel that when I see those types of moves, man, I'm like, man, they really, because first of all, you're off balance. You're on the apron.
And you ain't got but so much room.
Yeah. So if you one slip,
y'all heading over.
Yeah. And you can try to cancel, but shoot, man, that I respect so much. That's why I respect wrestling so much in general. Like I'm a fan like you, and we have our opinion about what we like, what we don't like, as we should, right? We put money in the pockets, right? But what I'm saying is, when I see stuff like that, I'm like, man, that's an art, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like personally, because I personally gonna be like, look, we're only gonna rehearse this maybe once or twice. We ain't gonna be doing this multiple times. I ain't gonna be doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like because like somebody asked Edge one time, how many times did he rehearse spearing Jeff Hardy off that ladder?
Yeah.
He's like, "Are you kidding me?" Like nothing. He said, "I didn't like rehearse that at all." You feel me?
Right.
Like I ain't rehearsed that at all. But to
Ain't
the
no way
point,
you
back
can.
to the match. Back to the match.
There's no way you can rehearse that though.
Yeah, man. You know, so back to the match. We're Ospreay. To me, match of the night and Pac.
Yep.
Because we're Ospreay. Now, the one thing I will say about this, the back and forth, the high flying, the wrestling moves in general, but the one thing I want to talk about, we like talking about moments on the show, is the fact they kept showing Ricochet.
Mm-hmm. That's got to be down the line.
Yeah, to the point where they got a little promo in the back, and then I think Will Ospreay told Ricochet, stop getting paid to do nothing and start winning matches or something like that.
Right.
And then walked off.
Now, before you go on, man, you know, hats off to Ricochet for hanging in there because it looked like he might have found his home in AEW.
Yeah.
You know, it looked like he might have found, because, you know, everybody's not for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's not meant to be on, you know, on the grand stage like we call it, like we've come to know, you know, and it's no shot. But, you know, hats off to him, man. Looked like he finally found his home.
Well, you know, they friends. They had matches on the indies.
Okay.
And, you know, Will Ospreay was kind of hinting for him to come over there because, you know, when WWE was putting him in those speed matches, which I have not watched one speed match yet, let me be honest with you. But
I ain't been able to get no.
But you know, to your point, this is why having multiple businesses within the business is good, because like you, to your point, everybody's not going to go to WWE. Everybody doesn't want to be in WWE. Everybody doesn't want to be in AEW. Everybody doesn't want to be in TNA or New Japan or NWA. You know, and everybody doesn't want to be all that. So it's good to have. Some people just want to be indie wrestlers for the whole time and travel to different markets. That's what they want to do. You know, and that's okay. You know, so my personal opinion, but we're Ospreay getting another W over Pac and not going to Ricochet. Yeah, that match is going to be, and maybe Wrestle Dream is next, so I guess. Unless they're going now, one thing I know about AEW, they're not going to tease something for so long. Mm-hmm. So if they tease it now, it's probably going to happen. Like that.
Yeah, it's happening. Next time we see this show, it's happening.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's going to be a high flying thing because that style, Ricochet style, does fit into AEW. He said so himself. He was the happiest when he was around those guys, his friends that are in AEW, aka Will Ospreay and a couple other folks, but he was his happiest then. So him being now, don't get me wrong, his fiance in WWE. So yeah, go ahead and drink your water on that one, man. But my point is, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him too, man, that he can get in there and get to do what he wants to do. I heard Booker T say as well. His style is fit for it.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, we got to get to a point where we're not hating on everybody company, bashing everybody company. Because like I always tell you, Lonnie, you walk down the bread aisle, everybody got their name on a pack of bread, man. Ain't nobody jealous. Ain't nobody mad. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So hats off to him, man. I think he finally found his place. He found his home. I mean, I think his talent, I don't know, I think he's gonna do well there, man. But again, it's on the booking. You know, a lot of times grass look green on the other side. I mean, it's on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, we got to come back and do a show about those types of things. We got to come back and do that because I think that's very important to talk about as a fan, from a fan perspective, right? Because none of us has been in those rooms, right? But you know, I heard JR say recently. He said that he hopes that AEW doesn't be they need to take their time on Ricochet. Mm-hmm. Because even though he debuted, he's not over. No. You know, so don't be in such a rush. Yeah. So don't be in such a rush to put him in, you know, just put him out there like that, you know?
Yeah. Because he could be high flying all he wants. We know, man, one injury, that high flying come to a minimal stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. And of course, we don't want that to happen to anybody. Mm-hmm. But AEW, man, they live up to their name, all elite wrestling, because they go all elite, man. The things I see,
they might need to change that E to all extreme wrestling or something.
Hey, after last night, boy, they might, you know. After last night, they might, man. But go ahead and final thoughts on the pay-per-view. What would you rate it?
I would give it a C. That's just me. I give it a C, maybe like a high B. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, the matches were cool. It had a good flow. I think the matches that stood out to me was, Swerve and Hangman, Will Ospreay and Pac. I mean, a few moments of the night would be, what happened to Bryan Danielson. Nobody saw that coming, you know. And I mean, I thought Dustin Rhodes, I thought he did a good job, in the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope they move him off of there. But 'cause he needs to be on the main card, even though he's Ring of Honor right now. So
Right.
that's just my hey. That's just me. I always been a fan of the Rhodes family. I always liked Dustin. I always
Yeah.
liked Dustin. Back in the day when he was teaming up with his dad in WCW. I still remember that promo. But that's a whole other topic too. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Let us know what you thought about AEW All Out 2024. And as we continue to move on here, Sean, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Friday Night SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, okay, let me ask you like this. Would you be locked up in a cage with a wild animal?
Now, this is gonna sound funny because Cody pulled a fast one on all of us.
Mhm.
If I had to choose, because now the only reason why I'm saying this is because how the promo went, right? Yeah, Solo Sikoa is a wild animal. Yes, he ain't on that Jacob Fatu level.
I knew you were gonna say that.
He ain't on that Jacob Fatu level now. He wild. Solo, I would say this. It's weird because now he's the tribal chief. Solo's technically the interim tribal. He's the sitting tribal chief. But the solo before WrestleMania 40 was more lethal than the Solo we're seeing now. Even with him being in the role that he's in now.
Okay.
Yep. So, but at the end of the day, I still wouldn't be in there in no lock cage to answer your question. Yes, his to me, just me. To me, it's minimalized, but I still wouldn't be locked up in a cage by myself with Solo Sikoa. Now, who knows what's gonna happen though? Who knows what's gonna happen?
Whoa, boy. So, can I share with the audience what I think will happen?
Go ahead.
Okay, so they banned the bloodline. We already know that. That right? We've seen this story before. Mm-hmm. So, what does that mean for me? You got the season premiere of Friday Night SmackDown on USA.
Man, you think The Rock coming, man?
Nope.
Okay.
This is big though. I think the real tribal chief returns, and he may bring Jimmy Uso with him.
And Paul Heyman.
Because the bloodline's banned from ringside. Now the point is, they're in a cage. So I know he ain't gonna stand in the ring.
Nah.
So I think the tribal chief comes back. But that's and of course Cody wins. Mm-hmm. But backing up a little bit, let's talk about Cody's promo to Jacob.
It was disrespectful.
Listen, but you saw what Jacob did, right? He thought about it. He was like, oh.
He ain't back down off the apron real quick.
hey, and Solo know it. That's why he was like, Jacob.
He's like, what you doing?
Yeah.
What you doing?
Hey, he know he can't see them. He don't want them hands.
No, he don't want them hands.
Hey, listen. That's one thing I like about Cody, man. Cody a straight gut puncher.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He'll touch on the fans' imagination, right?
Yep.
He like, we talking about Solo, but Cody essentially was saying, Solo, I've beaten you one-on-one multiple times. I'm getting bored.
Yep.
Jacob, step up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he was saying.
Yep.
Now, Solo saying, after Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, I got next. Okay. Well, Solo, you lost. Why do you deserve next?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because you got the tribal chief on your neck?
Right.
Because you took out the tribal chief? Because you beat Cody in a 6-man tag?
Mm-hmm.
Because your boy got tag team titles? This is all leading to Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa at Bad Blood, in my opinion.
Or is it leading to, was a seed planted with Jacob Fatu to turn on Solo Sikoa and join the original Tribal Chief?
Man, you know, when you ask a question like that, there's a lot of missing pieces there, right? You alluded, you said it. You said that's a final boss something. If he does that, let's just say that's the direction they went. Jacob R2 turned on Solo, and then join Roman Reigns, right?
Mhm.
Let's just say that was the case.
Mhm.
Where does the final boss fit into that? Where does Jay Uso fit in that?
The reason I say that because up to this point, there was one more seed that was planted.
Okay.
Did we see the look on Jacob Fatu's face when Solo asked him to relinquish his tag team title to the Tongans? Did we see the hesitation in his body language, as if he was caught off guard? But because he has to play the role of loving Solo Sikoa, he went ahead and did it anyway for the bigger picture of the family, right? Now, fast forward to Friday night. You got Cody talking through Solo to Jacob, and Jacob's like, that does sound good. That does sound good. He gets up on the apron, thinks about it, hesitate, and now Solo is in an authority spot, having to almost push his authority now moving forward, because Jacob's a powerhouse, and Jacob's up to this point, he's been a wild dog with no direction, only to the benefit of Solo Sikoa. So how is Solo going to manage that wild animal moving forward, especially if Cody going to be playing mind games?
And you know what? That's the word right there. Mind games. Wasn't that a pay-per-view back in the day?
It sounded like it was.
Maybe it was In Your House. And like, you know how In Your House used to have those subtitles?
Right.
In Your House or Mind Games. So maybe that. Anyway, that's a good word right there, because Cody has been fighting the bloodline for 2 years and a half, give or take, something like that.
Right.
So now he really trying to make that kingdom crumble.
Mm-hmm.
Had no seeds, because he knows Roman Reigns not going to be gone for a while, and he also knows that he's going to have to get in the ring with Roman again.
Yep.
But in order to do that, he knows he has to break this bloodline down.
Yep.
But to your point, you got The Rock still.
That's right.
The final boss.
Yeah. If he's to your point, Lonnie, if he's who you say he is, if he's the real tribal chief for the Bloodline 2.0, and Solo is just doing his bidding, if that's the case, the final boss can put all that in check.
Man, you remember, this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we love as fans about storytelling. Because I specifically remember, after the Royal Rumble, when The Rock showed up on that SmackDown, and Cody said, I'm not going to take your title at WrestleMania, Roman.
Mm-hmm.
When The Rock came out, and I remember you text me, you was like, bravo Cody for doing business. I remember you text me something like that.
Right.
But right then we was like, we're going to get Rock and we're going to get Roman. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, personally, I didn't believe he needed the title.
No.
I didn't believe he needed the title. But what, you going to get the title off of Roman Reigns for WrestleMania? I don't think so. But so from there, we thought we were going to get The Rock as a babyface, Roman as a heel. If The Rock was to come back Friday, those roles would be reversed.
Yeah.
Yep. Right?
Right.
So I still think The Rock is the one that Solo is. Because why would Solo just do that? Why all of a sudden? Why? Because Roman lost? So like I said, he kicked his brother out, right? And then he raised all Tama Tonga and Tonga Low, and then Jacob. Mm-hmm. There's so many bits and pieces right now. We can get an idea. Now, I personally think it's going to go to Rock Roman at WrestleMania.
Right.
That's what I think. But also, again, I go back to Rock said, when I come back, I'm coming back for you, Cody.
And I mean, they did the whole title exchange at the end of the night, so.
Which is very awkward, by the way. I was gonna put that there. But so let's say Solo gets the title. Who does he give it to?
Gotta be the final boss.
Like Solo wins the title and then the Rock music hits.
I mean, or Solo just keeps it.
Yeah, man. I don't get ahead of myself, man. I'm thinking I don't want to get ahead of myself with this, man, because we can really talk that. We could do a show just on that segment because of what's been going on, right? 2.0, Bloodline 2.0, whatever you want to call it. But we'll continue to move on. So the main event for next week is set to be Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the WWE Undisputed Championship in a steel cage match. Obviously, it's the main event. It has to be the main event, right?
Right.
Season premiere of SmackDown. We're thinking, let us know what you think in the comments. We're thinking the Tribal Chief shows up, the real Tribal Chief shows back up, maybe bring Jimmy Uso and Paul Heyman back with them, and somehow screws over Solo Sikoa, which leads to a Roman Reigns Solo Sikoa match at Bad Blood.
It's gonna be a huge pop if they come out like that, all three of them together. Yeah.
Well, what 4 of them threw Roman through a table when we went to SmackDown 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. But I want to talk about something. While we're still in the bloodline, I'm kind of going to pivot and come back to something. But so the bloodline was in the main event on SmackDown against DIY and Street Profits.
Yeah.
But I want to. Montez Ford was the one who took the L.
Bless their heart.
What is going on with Street Profits?
Man, they ain't gonna win nothing while the Bloodline 2.0 is around. While Jacob, Solo, the Tongue is around, Street Profits ain't about to win nothing, man. As long as the Bloodline has some tag belts, unfortunately, it's not in the cards for them. But how long can the Street Profits continue this way with just, taking the L before somebody in that group says, man, enough is enough. Enough is enough. I mean, to me, we said on previous episodes, it's really, to me, unfortunately, there's no real point to the Street Profits at this moment.
I can see that. The one thing I keep alluding to is that in multiple promos that they have backstage, especially when they're on the hunt or about to get a title shot, they would say, people forgot who we were. We were the SmackDown, the Raw, and the NXT Tag Team Champions. But none of those title reigns were memorable.
Nope.
So, and now you keep talking about people forgot who you are. No, I think you forgot who you are.
Right.
Because Montez is like back and forth, shall go to a singles run. But what does that leave Dawson probably? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe that's a thought too. But Montez would be, I mean, remember a couple of years ago, they had him in an Elimination Chamber match.
Mm-hmm.
As a solo performer, and he stole the show in it. The things he did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, what's going to happen with them? Is time up with them?
Time's up, man. Because Montel has big star written all over him, man.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see just him and his girl, him and his wife. I mean, team up, be a power couple.
Mm-hmm. Well, but with you though, I mean that goes against what you want with her and Jay right now. Because Jay, that's your tag team right now, bro. I think I saw you walk out with a mention them last week or something. Because I think I saw you doing that, bro. Because I just think Montez needs his own thing. He needs to go. And the thing about it, this is what I would do personally. Either break them up, put them on separate shows, and let them try to be faces on each show. Or if you really want to turn them some real dog heel, turn them real dog heel.
And have old girl go at it.
Yeah. Have B-Fab be like the mouthpiece. I mean, Montez, I know we talked about before about, we said black wrestlers, for the most part, we feel like they can't really talk that well, but I think Montez is all right. He can hold his own pedigree there.
I have to retract that comment because I do feel Montez can talk on the mic. So, yeah.
So let him talk. Let him be that whatever side you want to go on. He's athletic. I remember when the pandemic was going on and he had a one-on-one match against Roman Reigns. But this is when they had what they called it, the screens, the Thunderdome. Yeah, I remember he had a one-on-one match with Roman Reigns in one of those Thunderdome main events on SmackDown.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so why can't this man now? Because what can they say now, Sean, that could help elevate? Okay, if somebody comes to you and say, hey, you go to the show, man, and I want you to tell me honestly, I want the Street Profits to get over. After that loss, what can they tell you right now? What can be done now? I know a lot of people are going to say, well, they hold them down or some other things I'm not going to say. But what is it? But sometimes I think it's on talent too, right?
Yeah. I mean, the needle moves by the audience. The needle moves by the audience, and they haven't captivated the audience enough. And I mean, you're not going to stop the bloodline right now. We know that ain't happening. We know that's not happening. So I think that it should be B-Fab and Montel, give old boy the deuces, and they go on the separate ways. And it could be Montel and B-Fab. B-Fab can be his manager.
You know, really let us go. Really let us know what y'all think about this, because this is up to discussion, because I believe this has been like, I felt like they were almost there to do something like that, and then they just pulled back. Then they put him with Bobby Lashley to go heel, and going face. You know what I'm saying? Like it
with them facing DIY, I mean, that's pointless too.
Yeah. It was a good match though. It was a good match. It was a good match.
Although we didn't know who was coming out when we heard DIY music.
More to come. Let us know what you think in the comments. But in continuing in that same vein, what is next for KO?
Man.
Because it seems to me at the moment, him and Cody might be done right now. But I wanna, before you answer it, I wanna kind of paint the picture that Bad Blood is in Atlanta, Cody's hometown. And so I don't know if he's gonna have a match or host something there. So holding on to that piece.
Right.
What is next to KO? Because he's back with fighting the 8-time down under, and next week he's gonna get a surprise partner. And you know, there's always he don't have any friends, but Randy, I'm thinking it's gonna be Randy Orton.
Randy Orton.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Randy Orton's gonna be also. He was on Raw for the last month or so, with Gunther, and now he's back on SmackDown because he never really officially went there. If he won the title, yeah, but so what's next for KO? Because he said he hasn't had a single title in 7 to 8 years.
I think the story continues for him, as Michael Cole alluded to, or somebody alluded to, like Kevin Owens has to refine and rediscover that killer instinct in him. So this is the chapter in Kevin Owens where he's trying to refine and rediscover himself. He might get to a point, we might see some type of development to where, you know, Kevin Owens is in the back and he's like, man, I just haven't felt like myself lately and blah, blah, blah. Probably leading up to maybe a match between him and Randy Orton then, since he didn't turn on.
You know, that could be it. But my thing would be, man, who's the better heel?
Yeah.
You know?
Because Orton seems pretty comfortable right now playing the good guy, so.
Yeah, I remember Kevin Owens when he would powerbomb like he did on Sami Zayn. If you haven't, ladies and gentlemen, go back and watch when Kevin Owens turned on Sami Zayn in NXT. And he powerbombed him on that apron, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he used to do that on a regular basis. Ooh.
Man, that powerbomb hit.
Bruh. This is what I think. I think he's going to kind of go through the motions for like the next few weeks or so. Right. And maybe go for another title shot against Cody. And this time he would say something along those lines. Yeah, I held back, but now I'm going to give you what you want. I'm going to give you the old KO type of thing, right? He loses again, and then he turns.
I mean, but is that legitimate? Because now because that when they do the premiere SmackDown show, you know the Tribal Chief coming back, so and he's got a match with Solo. You still got the bloodline in there, so is that what's the word? Is that reality? Is that really gonna happen this time soon?
Well, I don't see who else Cody's gonna fight after this whole. When Tribal Chief come back, that's gonna be bloodline type stuff there for next, few weeks or months. So I don't know who else Cody's gonna fight. I mean, they can always, find somebody. I get it, but I don't know who else Cody would be going against right now. I personally think they're saving him and Orton for WrestleMania.
Okay,
this is my personal opinion, though. Because they can. I know The Rock said, "I'm coming back for you, Cody," but they can easily though. Say, Cody, I'm gonna get to you later. I gotta take care of family business, and kind of let's let that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kind of let that go. So, but the problem is, does Cody and KO go at it for another 2 months?
Yeah.
Because then you go, because December they don't have a PLE. January for the first time in a long time they don't have a PLE. They have one now. Royal Rumble's February 1st or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like Kevin Owens they could easily put some things in there for KO to do that can help him get to at least a higher level. Because think about what he did in the last two WrestleManias. Well, 38 and 39 specifically. 38, right. He got Stone Cold Steve Austin in the ring after 19 years.
Yep.
WrestleMania 39, him and Sami Zayn beat the greatest tag team, probably arguably the greatest tag team in WWE history.
Dude.
So it's not like it's not like he's down or anything, but maybe it's just time for a refresh. Maybe it's just time for him to kick it up a notch and go back to the OKO. Yeah, he still has the moniker of fight Owens fight, prize fighter. He still does that, but maybe get a little more violent.
Yep. And maybe this is his track back to that.
Yeah, maybe get a little more violent. And then, if you have a match with Cody, give Cody the match you want. Go out to Cody, give me another shot, and I'll give you the Kevin Owens that you want. And Cody gonna say, yeah.
Yep.
You're gonna say, yeah, in Atlanta, and then turn them heel maybe, and then boom. You feel me?
Yeah. I don't see who else he could fight at Atlanta. Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna I think they're gonna prolong those things, but ladies and gentlemen, it's so much to look forward to. And that's the beauty of it in general about professional wrestling right now. So much to look forward to. When we think we know something, they just change it at the drop of a dime like that,
Right.
But moving on here, I want to talk about another seed that's been planted. Little sprinkles here. Little sprinkles. You have the Queen, Nia Jax, who is now the WWE Women's Champion.
Right.
We had Bayley return, and we also, she fought Tiffany Stratton when she was victorious, But at SummerSlam, what did Nikki do? Tiffany. Sorry, what did Tiffany do?
Tiffany ran out with the briefcase.
Yeah, Tiffany ran out with the briefcase. So that's a little sprinkle.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have her thinking about it. Another sprinkle, and I just look at her like,
Yeah, that was during the match while Nia Jax was knocked down.
Yeah. And what's those guys' name? I can't think of their names right now.
I don't know those guys' names. Yeah.
I forgot their name. It'll come to me. But they're playing the season. You can cash in on Nia now. She walked in.
Yep.
Come on, man. What you think, man? Talk to me. Is she the one to take it off Nia?
It's about to happen, man. It looks like it's getting real close. I mean, especially I believe it was this Friday. I mean, she turned around and or maybe a Friday before she turned around, looked like she was going to hand it to the ref, and now it's like, wait a minute, what are you doing? So it's about to happen, man. And especially since Tiffany beat Bayley. I mean, that kind of puts Bayley down on the picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm trying to find this team, man.
Let me see. It's about to happen, man.
Pretty deadly.
Okay.
Pretty deadly. They kept teasing it.
Right.
They kept teasing it. It's like, you go cash in on Nia. Planting them seeds like she wants to do it. So I think Tiffany is going to be the one to take it on Nia, and I think it might be a Mania thing because I think fans going to get behind Tiffany.
Yep. Man, that'd be a good match.
Yeah.
A good match at Mania. And I mean, Nia Jax, she's not having such a bad title run right now. Nope. But I think that is going to happen. I think Nia, you know what? Or would she cash in at WrestleMania?
She could. I think it'd be something. Nia is playing that aggressive heel bully type of role.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that because you remember what she said already. She said, "Bow to your queen." She told Tiffany that.
Right.
Tiffany like, "You want me to bow? I'm helping you here." Like So all those little things is cooking, man. They done put the salt. Hey, they done put the salt in the water. They done put the pepper in there. And now they got to put the cumin and the seasoned salt.
Yeah.
And then, like Booker T say, no bread, no water, just meat. And just cook it on in there, bro. And get that pot cooking. And then, excuse me. And I think that is your Mania match.
Right. Yeah. Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton. But it'll be more epic if she just cashes in at a, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole nother match going on, and she just cashes in that way.
Yeah, that'll be good too, because they could easily make some things out of it. And I'm pretty sure Bayley's going to fight Nia Jax again, whether that be at Bad Blood or the next Saudi show, which is the beginning of November, I believe. Mm-hmm. So they're going to fight again. But that can kind of prolong, and Tiffany can Nia Jax win and that type of thing. And so there's ways you can prolong. I don't know why we're talking about prolonging so much today, man. We just all on that thing today, bro. But it's okay.
Yep.
It's okay. So look, we talked about that. We talked about Cody and KO. We talked about Nia Jax. So next week on SmackDown, we have the season premiere
Yeah.
on the USA Network. And for us growing up, USA was always the home for WWE for us growing up.
Yep.
So next week you got Raw, NXT, and SmackDown on USA. Do you want to tell the audience, perhaps, I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot with this one, but maybe you have a favorite moment with WWE SmackDown being on Fox for the last 5 years? Do you have a favorite moment that stands out?
Man. Favorite moment that stands out with them on, man, the 5 years they've been on Fox. I would say anything dealing with the bloodline.
Fair enough, because
Yep.
that's pretty much what it's been.
Yeah. Anything dealing with the bloodline. The pandemic kind of a blur to me. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. I mean, because you didn't have that fan interaction, man. But you're right. USA has always been the home for WWE. So welcome back to USA.
Yeah. And until we go into, Raw on Netflix next year. But for me, the bloodline, yes. But I also want to allude to this. When The Rock, my favorite moment, the first episode The Rock came, we knew that on Fox. But when he came back in Denver, a year or two ago now?
Yeah.
To me, that was the one. When he showed up, ran against Austin Theory.
That was a pop right there, man.
Yeah.
I think video, is that the same video where Stephanie, not Stephanie, but Samantha Irvin, she's like real surprised in the reel? Have you seen that reel?
No, that was the one with Jinder Mahal on Monday Night Raw, day one.
Yeah,
but that was a good one too.
That was wrong. Yeah, that was a
good. Yeah, that was a good one, man. I really think that was my favorite moment. And for me, what was so special is that my wife, she watches SmackDown because she likes Bianca and things of that nature. But she liked The Rock's her favorite, so when she saw him, for me, that was cool because now, and not so much about because of who he is, but so much that we can watch something together and enjoy it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's, so to me, that was a good place for that particular moment for The Rock to come back. Because and also you thought like he was just talking about potentially fighting Roman Reigns on College Game Day, and then he shows up on SmackDown, which he hasn't done in a few years.
Nope, the great one. He could do that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at some of the moments from the 5 years here right now, man. So let me see what stands out. And you had everybody doing these 5 years. Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson.
Hey, it's so hard to keep up with that these years too, bro.
Yeah. You know what? Got to give it to my girl Jade making her debut.
Okay. I know you're biased on that, but it's okay. I know you're biased. Look,
making her debut. Come on, man. Was it not stellar, bro? Was it not stellar?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you won't forget her.
It was stellar, man. Come on. What else? We got I mean, you had the Fiend.
Yeah, that whole thing, the championship is that. You had John Cena come back, feud with Roman Reigns for a little bit. You had Dominic Mysterio getting knocked out by Daddy by yelling at his mom.
Right.
You had,
didn't CM Punk before he came back. Didn't he do something on Fox SmackDown like you also had AJ Styles and Shawn,
on Fox?
I think so.
No, I think that was before that.
That was before that? Let me see.
Yeah, that's before that. But but it's something you had. I mean, I hate to say it, but Brock Lesnar won the title in like 8 seconds, whatever it was against Kofi Kingston. That was like the moment. And then Cain Velasquez came out and all that jazz.
Yep.
You had, let me see, you had Charlotte and Becky Lynch, which I think it's a cool thing when people kind of forget about and get past on things. And they kind of got back in the ring together after being at each other's faces for real, because they were best friends. So it's a lot of moments there, ladies and gentlemen, that you can talk about in the comments.
Shane McMahon and he fight one of the Usos. Is this one of the Usos right here? Let me see what this is.
I don't remember that one, bro.
Let me see.
It could have been.
It's 2019. Let's see what took place here. Yeah, I think it was Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon. He stacks the odds against Roman Reigns and the Usos. Yep. They got him doing the coast to coast to Jey Uso.
What a time, though.
What a time. 5 years. Man, that seems so long, man.
I know, right?
5 years.
I know, right, man. But thank you, WWE and Fox. That relationship that was good. But now we're going back over to USA where
We're going
everything's
home.
different. Yeah, going home, man, going home. But
And so
speaking of,
that's big. You can have all 3 brands on USA Network.
yeah, that makes things easier, don't it?
Yeah.
Yep, because for a little while, because I think in October NXT's going to CW, and they're promoting. It's going to be in Chicago, and the following week St. Louis. And they're going to be promoting CM Punk and Randy Orton respectively for those shows.
Right.
You know, the business sell the house out, man. But speaking of business, and speaking of history, Logan Paul, former United States champion, stellar performer, has a show called Impulsive.
Yeah.
And I know, I'm just gonna call it what it is. I know a lot of people feel a certain way about this most recent guest because, as far as the wrestler goes, because of some comments that were made some years back. And I understand, but you can't deny the impact this individual has had on the business.
Yep.
We're talking about Hulk Hogan, care about boy for a lot of people, and you know, he talked about. I think it was a decent interview, but he talked about a couple of things. I want to get into it. But before we do that, is there anything that stood out to you in that interview?
So a few things stood out to me in that interview. I always like interviews like that because you get to hear like the behind the scenes stuff, right? Well, Logan Paul didn't know what the difference was between shoot, right? He didn't know what that was, right? To hear Hogan talk about, because a lot of people have a bad opinion about Hogan. To me, I mean, I know how to, separate, people. You know what I'm saying? We all make mistakes. We all got places that we can improve on. But man, Hogan's contribution to wrestling as a whole, he's one of those founding fathers. Like he's one of those guys that, if it wasn't for him blazing the trail, a lot of people wouldn't be here today, right? So I appreciate his legacy as it pertains to what's happening in the ring. You know, everybody got their own stuff they deal with out on the outside. Nobody's perfect, right? But one of the things that stood out was his story matched up with Eric Bischoff's story about how no one knew that he was the third man for the NWO, right? No one knew. No one knew, man, how monumental that was, man. Looking back, man, I remember being at my cousin's house when that happened, man, Looking at the TV and like Hogan's joined WCW. So that stood out. It was a few more behind the scenes things that stood out. How Andre the Giant taught him how to, because he told the story about, him and The Rock, how The Rock wanted to practice the match, how The Rock wanted to go over everything. And he's like, man, I basically feed off of the audience, feed off the crowd. And we saw what happened. WrestleMania 18. We saw what happened. They had to pivot. The fans was torn. Their childhood hero, Hulk Hogan, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment, The Rock, they were torn. So to see that, they still was able to pivot, and his respect, I mean, judging by what it looks like on camera, his respect he has for The Rock. I mean, I thought it was a pretty good interview.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish up. Go ahead.
He says that Logan Paul going to be the guy one day.
I can't say he won't be, but he got a hill to climb.
Yeah, man, he got more than a hill.
Well, because if the people he want to step on to try to get there now, he got to really do some fighting. But
it's gonna be a fight.
I want to go back to something you said that was key. You're right. I remember when Hogan turned heel, and being younger, being a Hogan maniac, Hogan fan, whatever you want to call it, I was bothered by that because I'm like, Hogan's a heel now. This is a guy I saw in red and yellow. Always, man, the fans were lit. And that's what the kids say, right? Lit for this guy. Like he always do his, do all that and do posing and all that, right? And then you turn heel, and arguably, as a heel, you almost reached the same pinnacle as you did as a face.
Man, it was right. It was neck and neck. It was close.
You know what I'm saying? So
that Hollywood Hogan intro,
yeah, and then so it's the kind of same thing. As a face, you didn't Hogan kept winning, because he was an attraction. He wasn't always there.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't want him to lose. That's why I felt so weird when the Warrior beat him
Right.
in WrestleMania 6. But then you go to NWO, you couldn't wait for somebody to beat him.
Yep.
But he kept winning.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I think he was like a 6-time WWE champion and then a 6-time WCW champion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's like, whoa, man. They just saying. And then so it's like, so you can't, to your point, I understand people personal life, but you can't deny what he's contributed to the business. You can't deny that. Most of us watch wrestling probably because of him. And he may be the most recognized name probably in the business throughout the whole years. I know people. I know people can say The Rock. That's why I said probably. People say The Rock. People say Flair. People say Austin. You know, but Hogan was the one also out there doing movies when he was wrestling. Still, you know, on a consistent basis. Like Andre did Princess Bride and all that, but Hogan did all these. You know, that's debatable if they were good or not. But the point is, he was doing the movies. You know what I'm saying? He was doing those movies, and he was getting that out there. So sports entertainment was really kicking way back then in the golden area as well. So
he brought sports entertainment. He's the epitome of sports entertainment.
Yeah. He was an attraction. Like I said, they didn't always throw him out. You know, they brought him out at the end for the major things, obviously. I know when I was a kid, when I watched those shows and he would come out, I look forward to him coming out, you know, in the red and yellow, because the electricity, so to speak, that he brought when he came out, you know.
It was a lot of fanfare.
Yeah. So the classic baby face, like a Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, you know, they tag hands. Hogan never really did that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was so over still. I'm like, and remember back then, they had it so close that you could just reach out and like you had to walk through hands to get to the ring.
Man, I mean, and the interviews he was the first one kind of like marketable, like where you can market this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, the red and yellow, man. Everybody know what red and yellow is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's promos. You know, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, the whole thing, the whole package, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nobody that stands out in the mind when you think of wrestling, you think of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. Good point, man. And I also want to talk about, you know, when The Rock and Hogan fought at 18. And remember, I think the Raw or two before, you know, they ran The Rock over.
Yep, twice.
Yeah, and they ran over. And that's if you're going to get over heel, that means one of the top stars, or probably the top babyface at that time. Mm-hmm. And then you go into Canada, and Hogan's back home, sort of, quote unquote, and Hogan Maniacs, because 12 years earlier, he lost in that same building.
Right.
To the Warrior. And then you come back, and it's like, you got to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you got your dad saying, who's a black man, by the way, just want to put it out there. You know, people say different than another, you know, but who said they're good friends, listen to Hogan.
Yep.
So, but my point is, you take those classic things where he passed the torch to The Rock that night,
mm-hmm.
and then a month later he wins the title, then a month later he loses it. But, you know, my point is, well, I don't know if you know this, but I think that Hogan said in another interview, he said after he came back through the curtain at that WrestleMania, Vince said, you got to get your red and yellow.
Mm-hmm. So
he had to fly home. They was going to fly somebody there for him, but he said, no, they don't know where to go. They don't know the look. So he flew home, and then came back like the next day or something like that with his red and yellow for Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So my point is, yes, he contributed a lot to the business. You can't deny that. How you feel about it? We're not trying to convince anybody. That's your personal feelings. That's on you. But to your point, I know how to separate certain things, but you can't deny what he contributed to the business. But I want to talk about one particular thing that I feel is very interesting. Is that they asked him what is the difference between a Vince McMahon's leadership versus a Nick Khan / Triple H's leadership. I saw some similarities in the answer because he said Vince McMahon likes to work backwards. He'll put something on next year's WrestleMania and then work up to it. Yeah. Excuse me. I see the same thing with a Triple H. Mm-hmm. But Hogan can only go off what he knows. He hasn't worked under Triple H. He's done business with Nick Khan. But he hasn't worked under Triple H.
Yeah, he spoke more about Nick Khan. So.
Yeah. Elaborate, because I know that's your forte, that business entity of it, Sean. elaborate on what you think that meant and how a legend of his caliber this put today, how does that work versus how it used to be for him?
And again, a lot of people have, this stigma, especially nowadays, about even a person like Vince McMahon, but he's another one where me personally, I cannot discredit the contribution. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can't, you cannot erase what happened prior to that. Yeah, he got his, whatever's going on, but you can't erase. We would not be talking. We would not have this podcast if it had not been for the likes of Vince McMahon. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think what Hogan was alluding to was like Vince McMahon was such a thinker, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he had to ponder about before he got to the decision. Versus, Nick Khan, he's like, well, we could just make the decision because I think Nick Khan didn't have that investment, that vested interest in the actual product. He's more like a third party.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't had a chance to work under Triple H, but I think if he did, he probably feel the same way. I think that him and Vince butt heads on certain things, but it looked like they still did what was best for business. So,
Yeah, they butt heads on a lot of things. That trial and
yeah,
leaving to go to WCW, coming back, and I personally think the match that Vince and Hogan had at WrestleMania 19, I think some personal things were said.
mm-hmm.
If you go back and look at those build up, but to the point where Hogan, but a guy who probably made you back then, he was the guy that made you the most money for the company, and you fired him based on what was said.
Yeah.
And I understand. That also lets you know that Vince is always what was best for business. If you're gonna damage business, you got to go. You know what I'm saying? So but best for business is not just a moniker.
Right.
For them, I'm thinking it's a way of life.
It's a way of life for those guys. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but to Hogan, I don't agree with him saying that Logan Paul, they should put the title on him within the year. I don't agree with that.
I don't see that.
Yeah, but I understand with his history, being knowledgeable in the business. Because remember, he also said something. Remember, he's going off his old school mentality. He would say, when Vince says you're going over, I'm not putting you over. Somebody said, I'm not putting you over tonight.
Yeah.
Man, you might get fired.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So I can say that being a little different today. Like, you're not going over? Why you not go? Maybe they might have a little grace, be like, okay, let's try something else. But chances are, you might get fired.
Yeah, I mean, now Hogan did say he says he never used his creative power, right? I don't buy that. I don't buy.
He did. He did. He did. He said on his own document that he did use it. He said
In the interview, he said he did not use. He said I had creative power and I didn't use it that night.
What night?
With the NWO whole thing, yeah.
Well, on the WCW the Monday Night War documentary that's on Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
When he had a situation, I think it was with Vince Russo, and they wanted Jeff Jarrett. Hogan wanted to. He said he used creative control that night because in his mind, that's when WCW was kind of taken.
Mm-hmm.
At least if I get the title, I can pull myself out of it. And so he said he pulled creative control that night because Vince Russo wanted Jeff Jarrett to go over.
Yeah.
But Hogan said, "Nah, we have a match. I drop the leg and just kind of go from there." And then you all know how that went.
Yeah.
That's his last night in WC.
Yeah. They did everything but practically fight one another. That's what happened.
Yeah. So, but I also heard, but it's kind of questionable because the finger point of come on, like you mean tell me somebody had to do some kind of creative control to do that.
That person had to be Hogan. Had to be.
Yeah. But think about it, bro. Think about what happened though, Sean. You I think it's like 173-0, whatever Goldberg streak was at that time.
Right.
You end that streak.
Yep.
Just to hand that title over to Hogan like 2 weeks later or whatever it was.
They put it on Nash, right? Wasn't Nash the champ?
Yeah, Nash had beat Goldberg.
Because Scott Hall came out and stunned.
And tasered him. Yeah, and tasered him.
Yeah.
And then you just handed the title over to Hogan like that?
Right.
Nah, I didn't agree with that. What's up, baby? I didn't agree with that, but
right.
But that's a whole other thing. That's the thing about it. There are things you like and there are things. And there are things.
Yeah, because that mean that had to be the mind of Hogan, or it could have been Bischoff.
Well, you know they was in cahoots. So, I mean,
Hey,
they were the ones. Now, to all
we
fairness, Al, they did great things.
we never got a chance to talk about it. But do you blame Bischoff? Do you blame him? I don't blame Bischoff. I would have done whatever Hogan wanted to do.
Well, here's the thing. Let's put the ingredients together real quick, and I'm gonna tell you my answer. You got a guy, Eric Bischoff, who's been managed by Ted Turner,
Mm-hmm.
who came out of his own mouth and said, "I wanted to kick Vince's butt head to head." That's
Yep.
what he said.
Yep.
So he put that vision out there, and now you got your workhorse of Eric Bischoff. Now, how do you beat a man who's been successful all these years? Simple. You take everybody he won with and bring them over to you.
There you go.
Hogan, Macho Man, Mr. Perfect, Jim
Man.
Duggan, Nasty
Luger.
Boy,
Luger.
who was over there. Out of the, Lord, I don't know what we're going at today, but man,
What was Shawn Michaels' manager that was on the show and then ended up on WCW the same night?
Rick Rude, Ultimate Warrior, Brutus Beefcake, who called himself the Renegade. You know,
Yep.
that's 9. Oh, hold on,
Vader.
X-Pac, yeah, Vader,
Yeah.
X-Pac, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall.
It's a long list, man.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase.
Golly. The girl that came over and put the belt in the trash.
Yeah, Medusa. Alonzo
Medusa.
Blaze, whatever you want to call it. Bruh, hold on. Bobby the Brain Heenan, Mean
Yeah,
Gene
God.
Oakland.
Good thing.
Bro, I'm almost at 20.
God, dog, man.
So, how do you beat somebody you take all the time? Hold on. Jimmy Neidhart.
Yeah.
Not Jimmy Neidhart. What is Mouth of the South? What was his name?
Was it
No, that's that. No. What was the Mouth of the South name? Jimmy Hart. Sorry, Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart.
Hold on. Virgil.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So you got then what? Roddy Piper.
My boys, that was that was the Outlaws that showed up in the crowd. So yeah.
But that's 20.
Yep.
So you take all them because they're working less, guaranteed money. So you mean to tell me, bro, hold on, we can go further. Bret Hart, you tired yet?
Man, that's a lot. And then put the cherry on top, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
'Cause no disrespect to those guys, those some really good names, but they ain't got the Hogan moniker. They don't have that name.
Yeah. So you take all of that, and for 83 weeks, you beat them down.
Because
Now,
let's be honest, the ball didn't start rolling until Hogan got over there.
yeah,
That's when it made.
yeah. Vince himself said, "Oh, this is real competition now."
Mm-hmm.
Now you take all that, and you talk about all the talent they already had. You had to win for 83 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, to answer your question, it wasn't Ed Bischoff. I think it was a new owner. But anyway,
It was with AOL, Time Warner or something.
I think their leadership, because they didn't care about wrestling, they didn't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
They took Ed Bischoff's power away.
Yep. But now, that is kind of an iconic moment. The finger on the chest, and he down for 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. But I just feel that I don't think they know what they want to do.
Yeah, because McMahon made fun of it on Raw. It was Kane, Rock, and Hogan. Kane, Rock, and
I remember something Rock said about Kane. That's a whole other thing there. Zine fly backwards anyway. But
my name is Kane.
But I think it was. I don't think it was Ed Bischoff. I think Bischoff, because remember they fired him, they let him go, then they brought him back.
Yep.
Was it though?
Yeah. So it was Hogan then. It had to be Hogan.
No, I think it's a new leadership.
Okay.
I really think it's a new leadership. But we're thankful for what the entertainment we had with Hogan back in the day and for the business. But any final thoughts on that, Sean?
Man, Hogan signed a 5-year deal with WWE for merchandise, trademark, and all that stuff. So Interested, maybe he'll show up at the next Mania.
Yeah, yeah. He was. I think he was in Philadelphia for signings, I believe.
hmm
I want to say, but hey, but nonetheless, man, I want to kind of pivot over to another interview that happened this week.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the Tribal Chief. What, in about 3 weeks?
Mhm.
So him and Paul Heyman was at the Power Player in New York.
hmm
I'm not familiar with Power Player,
Me neither.
but
I don't know
there's
who
some
this-
interesting things. But it seems like it was an interview to try to get people more aware of WWE.
Smart move because it's
Yeah.
connected. I think it's connected to Bloomberg. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at it now. So with that being said, Sean, again, I'm going to you because I know you enjoy these types of things. Your mind is more business, and in terms of like you see where things like this can lead to, I can transcend things.
hmm
So what is your play-by-play on this interview? Because there's a lot of things that happen. They asked him about how can you get a new fan to come to WWE. They asked about will WWE go like more raunchy, if you will, with words
hmm
over the Netflix, or how do you keep the audience attention? Or Paul Heyman said something along the lines like, I need to remember my name, so I always say my name is Paul Heyman, or the Tribal Chief. Yes, my Tribal Chief. These types of things, and it's very clever. So what nuggets can you drop from that?
The nuggets I dropped, man, that Roman Reigns is probably still that top guy. He's still that guy with or without the championship. He's still that guy, and we haven't seen him and Paul in the same room in a while. So I thought it was big promotional wise to put them on that platform to talk to an audience that probably most of them in that room had no intentions of watching WWE like that. But after that day, they left out like, man, I might want to check out the brand. Paul Heyman says, to your point, he says that, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. So that way, the person, because the girl's question was, how does a new person follow up on these names, the characters and stuff like that? So for him to come on and state his name, they're like, oh, that's Paul Heyman. That's the Tribal Chief. This is the people that are doing X, Y, and Z. And Paul Heyman is hilarious. Well, one thing that stood out, we know that their relationship ain't just talk. His admiration for Roman Reigns and the things that Roman Reigns have done, it ain't just, to me, it's not just a character he's playing. He really believes that Roman Reigns is the greatest of all time, right? He really believes that Roman Reigns is the needle mover. He's pushing, and it's kind of showing. It's kind of showing, that Roman Reigns is kind of that guy. He's really a big deal. I think it was big for them to show the graph in the background about, I think it was, number one, it was the stock price that has gone up since the pandemic, and the viewership that's gone up over the last 2 years. It's double over the last 2 years. So a lot of that has to do with the bloodline.
That's a good point. You mentioned something key. One of the things that really stand out to me to your response there was that Paul Heyman and Roman's relationship. But we have to remember that Paul was working with the bloodline probably before Roman
Was born.
You know what I'm saying? 40 years plus in the business, man. It's like, and you can go through that lineage just like that, and the mind that Paul Heyman has, keep reading, because after, like he said it, working 20 years with Brock Lesnar. After that, what can he do?
Right.
And boom, anything that he did with Brock Lesnar has been eclipsed by him and Roman Reigns.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
because there'll probably be no Brock Lesnar without Paul Heyman.
Yeah. So I guess I have to ask this final question. Sean, who is the guy in WWE?
And after that interview, like I said, with or without the belt, I mean, yeah, Cody has a lot of momentum. He has the fans behind him. And I really have to say, after seeing that interview, for a person that's not carrying the belt, I mean, that spoke volumes. Yeah. I think it's neck and neck with him and Cody, because Cody has a huge following, a huge fan base,
Mhm.
and I think making Roman Reigns face, it probably put Roman Reigns into another stratosphere. So it's kind of hard to say who the guy is right now. Yeah.
Okay. So you said, and that gave me another question, because he said in the interview as well, the company made all this money with him being a heel, but it's more fun. But as a face, the door's open, as you can see. Does he? You say he's doing it without the title. Does he get the title back?
I don't think right away. I think they're gonna milk the Cody Rhodes cow until it run dry. You know, I don't see Roman Reigns getting the title because right now he's interesting with or without the championship. Because now he's chasing. He's got a few things that he's got to straighten up, in the closet, so to speak. He got to straighten up this family matter. And like you always allude to, there's a final boss lurking in the background.
Man. Ladies and gentlemen, spoken like a true player. If you understand him, if you understand who he is, you understand what I'm saying. I thank you, brother, for having me on this platform with you, man. We grew up doing these things, man, and be able to talk about these things. And just so you know, we're going to talk about things on this show, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about things. I mean, that's just what it is. In the wrestling world, we're going to talk about things because somebody wants and needs to hear it. So, yeah. John, any final thoughts?
Man, hey, listen. We as you can see, we're missing the counterpart. Wish him well, man. We miss him. But he'll be back. And guys, we got a few other additions we added to the show. So man, keep your eyes open. We thank you. We're almost to 2,000 followers. So keep supporting the channel.
Thank you so much. And to echo him, we thank y'all for rocking with us. Look forward for more great things coming. And we thank you. Peace. This is Champions Corner.
Peace.